Good afternoon. It is September 12th, 2022, and really we just had a range day. We trended up from the overnight, and let's take a look at this channel. So this channel is definitely valid. Perhaps people were playing a different channel. I'm sure there is something in here like, yeah, okay, so right here. Perhaps more people played this channel. Is that midline? This midline looks like it might be accurate. Could be something like this too. Uh, Maybe more people played this channel. But either way, it doesn't look like we get a new high. So, well, I guess until now, and that's probably what this rally was for. It was just to make a new high probably, and maybe we'll test these lows. But anyway, really just a range day. It looked like there was a channel down off these highs because the lows matched here, but I think it's just a range. So let's take a look at these trades. There were a few good ones in here today. Nice and early, you get this. I think we came in around here, and the second entry long was below the EMA and congestive, so you don't want to take that, and traps a bunch of longs before going higher. Really, this looks like two legs in one leg. You get one leg down, and like a leg of correction here. Really, it's like a leg down, correction, leg down, correction, small leg down, correction, small leg down. That's what it looks like to me. And then we get two legs of correction and another leg down. And I mean, that's pretty much very close to a measured move. Yeah, you can see that almost pretty much a perfect measured leg. So, that's probably just two legs of correction from this leg up. Something like that. Yeah, you can see that. Perfect. So pretty much perfect price action. So when you get this right before the open, this failure, actually, I'm seeing now that this was the failure, but I'd look at this as a first entry failed second entry. I say you take that. Maybe on the engulfing bar. So, I probably wouldn't take that now that I'm looking at it, just because of how high this bar closed. Maybe you drop a limit order after it ticks above this bar. Well, yeah, that's where the failure would occur, is right above this bar. So maybe you take it there. Hard to say if you would do that live, because that'd be a tough call. For advanced people, I think they would take that. So I looked at that as a spike and channel up, and then we get a leg of correction, probably two legs, one leg, two legs, and you get a failure up here that doesn't work. This kind of looks like the failure, but neither of those set up. You can see they're bouncing off the midline of the larger trend, and we just shoot up. No way to enter this. We hit the top of the channel, and you get you get this failure really above this. I like these entries if there's room back to the EMA. 27.25. So there's 4 ticks. So that's really aggressive. That'd be a 4-tick failure. So that's why you want to be really careful, see how much room there is back to the EMA. And this is an uptrend too, so you probably don't want to take that. Excuse me. This looks like a double top, really. So first entry, second entry, but this is just looking congested. And it looks like we're still in a correction. So, I mean, I would understand why someone would consider that. And I was about to put an arrow here, but you don't want to take this. It's an outside bar, and we already have overlapping bars here. But when this stacks up, I don't think you want to take this one because that's very, very congestive. So this is just a range. Eventually it goes higher, and then we form this range up here, and this fails, and maybe this double top first entry failed second entry. Maybe you consider that. I don't like it personally, but it looks like it might be like off this trend channel. So, but we already had a break and a move to a new low. So that's very aggressive. Doesn't touch the EMA. Then we bounce off the midline of the larger channel. First entry. People going long. This is a very nice trap. First entry, failed second entry. People went long above that. You see this doji right here. It takes higher, comes lower. That's a second entry short with a lower high. It's also like a breakout pullback. I like that. And we come down here, and there's some buying at this trend channel. But you can see here it looks like, yeah, it looks like we have a break of this channel and a move to a new low. So we're going sideways, and they're just trapping shorts here. You get a first entry, failed second entry. That's also a breakout pullback. This is aggressive because it doesn't touch the EMA. I think if this touched the EMA, it doesn't touch this level of support now either. I think if this touched the EMA, I'll mark this blue. But I also don't like that this is congestion. It's first time breakout. It might fail. And usually I like this, even this first leg, to be above the EMA. And it's not off a trend line, so it's aggressive. But we come higher up here, and then we start moving down. And you get this double top, first entry. Really, the failure happens right here. You can see this is just the trap, though. They get the people coming in too early. It doesn't come off the EMA, and then it fails. And this looks like the failure to me. This looks like one leg of pullback, two leg of pullback. That's why it's important. This EMA is important with failures. So I like that, and that gets you a nice move down. We get an overshoot. Did we already have a break? No, not really. Yeah, we had a break right here. Couple legs down. First entry. We don't really get a second entry set up. And then we make, this kind of looks like a double test, but I'm not taking that. It's first entry. Make a new low. We're just going back and forth, so you got to be careful. But then we start trending up. We break out of this range, come back, test it, bounce, and you can see here. So this is it. I looked at this as the new low, first entry. I'm sure some people look at this as the second entry because it's first entry, second entry, but I looked at this as a first entry, and then prices were trying to go lower here. So when we got this bar, that's a second entry long. I say you take that because that looks like a failure. So yeah, I was kind of looking at that as like a failure slash second entry long and breakout pullback. So you might consider that. And then really the failure happens like right here. First entry failed second entry, and that's off the trend line, but with us not hitting these highs and this is being a range, I think that's too aggressive for my liking. We come up here and we're just slowly working up. After the break, we come here, find support here and bounce, and we come up here, and I like this personally because we had the break and a couple legs up to a new high. You get this lower high, a lot of room back to the EMA. You might consider going short there. Even though this is congested, when we get that matching high, matching lower high and a bearish signal bar, I think it's going back to the EMA. I like that. And if you're looking at it for longs, you might look at this as like a double, kind of like these two as a double top, first entry, second entry long. You might consider either of those. I like either of those, but it depends on how you're viewing it at the time. You get a first entry, second entry, lower high here, but not a lot of room back to the EMA, which is why I didn't like that particularly. 2850. Yeah, 3 ticks, so I don't think you can take that. And we're just chopping back and forth here. This is a very bearish signal bar right here, but it's just I don't think you can. It's like a double test. You might consider that. Come down here, first entry, failed second entry. That's actually pretty tempting. But I mean, look, we're chopping back and forth here. There's a lot of rejection there, though. But we're chopping back and forth. We haven't. It's a failure. It's in a range. I think that's aggressive. This looks like a smaller range. Then we get a second entry short off of this trend line. I like that one because we're expecting to test these lows, and that's where we go before we bounce. And I want to take a look at this trap, and I think there's a few reasons why this failure wasn't a failure. First entry, failed second entry short. I was looking at this. First of all, note this congestion, okay? I think that formed a level of previous support that's now resistance. I don't know why I did that. I didn't mean to do that. And you're going in there, we hit that resistance, and then it comes down. And I think that's one reason this failure didn't work. Another reason is we're at this midline, and a lot of funky things happen at this midlines of ranges. But also, look at all these, like this slightly bearish doji, slightly bearish doji right here. So a failure probably occurred on a different chart right in here. And that's what made it go further up. So those are the reasons why I think this one didn't work. And we're just in a range here, chopping back and forth. That brings us to 1230. So, and you're in that yellow range, so I don't think you want to be taking anything. So that's how I saw it today. Let's get one last look. So I hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.